some Torah. So the in the parsha this week, the it speaks about so many different things. Then it starts speaking about a certain korbanot, which is really the laning that we laying on some of the chagim. And what I'd like to look at is one idea that comes out of this, which I have spoken about on at times before, but I just want to just focus on something. It says here, shor or kesev or eiz ki yivaled. If they're a shor or a kesev or an eiz, any type of animal that is born, vayash vachem tachat imo, then it'll be for 7 days with it under its mother. And then it speaks about that you shouldn't kill them on the same day. We spoke about that before. Then it says, that if you're going to bring a zevach todah la Hashem, it must be acceptable. For your own sake, it must be the word ratzon means that you bring it up as an for it to be desired. Okay. You must eat it on the day that you bring it. You should not allowed to leave anything over. Ani Hashem, I am Hashem. And then the Torah says, and you must observe the mitzvot and keep them. I am Hashem. Okay, so let's try and understand what is this business of the korban todah in the middle of everything. So the Rashi points out that it's just really just speaking about, since it starts speaking anyway about korbanot, one of the most important korbanot that we bring as a voluntary offering is the korban todah, the Thanksgiving offering. And so therefore it starts speaking about that. But the Netziv explains, he says that we need to understand that the korban todah is brought in another place. It's brought in Parshat Tzav, specifically where it speaks about the korban todah. And now it says, there's something that we need to learn that is going to be different. The korban todah eino ela nadava. The first thing we have to understand is the korban todah is a voluntary offering. You bring it as, whilst we're told that we need to bring it, it's really a voluntary offering. And v'yachol adam lavi b'chol yom. And a person can bring it every day. If you want to bring a korban todah, you want to bring a voluntary offering, you can bring it anytime you want. Ella, shunach korban zeh lemi shetzarich lehodot al hanes. This korban todah is a specific type of offering, voluntary offering, which is come for a person who wants to acknowledge Hashem's role in the miracle that happened. Why? Kedei lesaper hanes ba'et shehu ochel b'seuda achat kol hakorban ima lachamim. Why would you want to bring it? Because you want to tell about the miracle. The korban todah is different from any other voluntary offering in that the korban todah requires that you eat it together with there's a whole lot of different breads that come with it. And part of the different breads that you have to eat it on the same day, which means that you have to invite other people to eat it with you. And when you invite other people to eat it with you, then you start telling them all about the wonderful miracle that happened, that Hashem did for you. And that's the concept that we have of a Suda Toda'ah, this idea where we recognize the good that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has done for us. I know, for example, Rabbi Zayden was telling us that Lag BaOmer, which is tonight, is a big thing for him. He had a terrible accident, and every year he makes a Suda Todah to thank Hashem for the miracle that nothing happened to him. Okay, Omnam. Indeed, he says, he says that the reality is that during the time of the Beit HaMikdash, during Sukkot, Bnei Yisrael would bring Korban Todah. They would bring these different Thanksgiving offerings. Lo mishum ezenei shavar, not because of all the miracle of a specific miracle that happened. Ela mishum deyesh bo lechem, because it has bread. And this really starts for us to understanding the concept of the of part of the korban todah and the eating of the bread. Why would they have specifically bring a korban todah on Sukkot which has bread? Why? Because when we eat bread together and we eat in a manner of harchava, in an expansive way, where we're all sharing together, then we understand that that is the time where HaKadosh Baruch Hu sees us together and brings to us the bracha of Geshem, of Gashmiut, of the physical bracha, and that is the time of Sukkot. Because why? Because Nidonim b'Chag alamayim. Because on Sukkot is a time when when Hashem judges us on water, and water is the most fundamental need for Parnasat Haaretz, for the land to be able to give over its goodness. And so therefore the Netziv says that this is going to connect actually to the next part of the parsha, which speaks about all the different chagim. And so therefore the reason why it's brought here is to show that the Korban Todah could be brought at any time, but specifically it's connected to the Chagim, because the Chagim have got all their separate types of brocha where a person would try and engage in those things. This whole idea of not leaving it till the morning is important, because it demands that, because there's so much in the Korban Todah, it demands that people will come together, as we said, and in the coming together, that's where the brocha vests. But I'd like to share with you one more idea, and that is this idea of where the parsha says, "Ushmartem mitzvotai v'asitem otam ani Adonai," that you must guard my mitzvahs and do the mitzvahs. Ani Hashem, I am Hashem, because it keeps telling us the same thing. So what every time it tells us what is the newness of this part. Rashi tells us what is ushmartem. Ushmartem zu ha-mishnah. Mishnah means the learning. That in order for us, Ushmartim, the word means to guard. In order for us to guard the mitzvot of Hashem, in order for us to really engage profoundly in the importance of the mitzvot, we need to be able to learn them. We need to understand them. We need to have a deep consciousness and a deep level of grasp of what these mitzvot are. Because only when we have the depth of that level can we really feel that they're so important that we'll guard them. But the guarding of them, just simply learning of them, is not enough. As Rashi said, "Va'asitem ze ha'maaseh." We have to learn it and we have to do it. Why Ani Hashem? Because so we know from Pirkei Avot where it says, "Amaaseh hu ha'ikar." At the end of the day, the learning is fundamental. But the only way we can actually express the real importance of those mitzvot is via the doing of that mitzvah. The Chasam Sofer on this says something much deeper. He says the following: "Ushmartem mitzvotai v'asitem otam." You must guard the mitzvahs and v'asitem otam, and do them. Perish. What does it mean? Shetiu shomrim hazman. That we must be shomer this man. We must guard the time or mark the time. Matai tavo mitzvah l'dei kaima. When will this mitzvah come that I can fulfill it? Kamama Rabbi Akiva kol yemei hayiti mitzvah al zeh matai tavo mitzvah zu shel kiddush Hashem. We know the story. Rabbi Akiva, it's very relevant for us because of the whole period of the Omer. Rabbi Akiva had this thing. He could do every single mitzvah that he needed to do, except for one mitzvah that he didn't know when he would be able to do the mitzvah of Kiddush Hashem. Because it says in this week's parsha actually, you mustn't in any way do have a chilul Hashem v'nikdashti, but that's the negative. There's a positive of a Kiddush Hashem. So how could it be? Rabbi Akiva asked, how will I be able to fulfill the mitzvah of Kiddush Hashem? And his whole life he like waited for this time where which he would be able to do it, and we know that he was able to fulfill it at the end of the life where he died at the hands of the Romans. And so says the Chasam Sofer, he says that that we need to understand says that if a person just sits and doesn't do any avera, so then he gets the mitzvah, like it's a nice mitzvah. But he says that the thing is that a person's never been, he's not able to fulfill the idea of that he's been taken out in order to do something on a real level, but rather he's just sitting doing nothing. But the sitting and doing nothing doesn't show that he is an Eved of Hashem. An Eved, a servant, is a person that does something for the person that they serve. And so says the Chasam Sofer, in order for us to do to be real servants of Hashem. And that's why it says Ani Hashem at the end of the pasuk. In order for us to be the real servants of Hashem, we have to find the opportunities to do the will of Hashem. We mustn't run away from mitzvot, but rather we must run towards the mitzvot. And when we run towards the mitzvot, says the Chasam Sofer, then we become the real avadim of Hashem. Because it says, Ki li b'nei Yisrael avadim hem, ve'asiti lifnim mishurat hadin. What does it mean that we have to serve Hashem? We must go beyond the letter of the law. We must actually seek out the mitzvot to do. And when we seek out the mitzvot to do, as it says, that's the ability of us to be able to fulfill v'niktashti b'toch b'nei Yisrael, to be able to sanctify HaKadosh Baruch Hu's name within the congregation of the Jewish people. Rabbi Akiva, says the Chasam Sofer, didn't know how he would ever be able to do that. It's an amazing thing, because Rabbi Akiva was the one man who in everything he did made a Kiddush Hashem. But to him, that wasn't a Kiddush Hashem. It was just simply doing what he needed to do as a Jew. The question of the Kiddush Hashem really is when it becomes a little bit more difficult. Rabbi Akiva had to lose his life, much more difficult. But for us, when it becomes a little bit more difficult to do the thing that we have to do, that we push ourselves forward to do it, to get it done, that's when we're able to fulfill the idea of V'nik dashti b'toch b'nei Yisrael. And why do we do that? Because Hashem, Amotzi etchem et Mitzrayim. He took us out of Mitzrayim. Took us out of Mitzrayim, took us out of a space of being passive people into a space of being the servants of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to do the mitzvot. Ani Hashem, I am Hashem, the one that we have to follow. And in that way, I think what the Chasam Sofer is telling us is that when we speak about the Korban Todah, when we speak about this Thanksgiving offering, a Thanksgiving offering can be brought as an offering. We can't bring that any longer. We don't have a Beis HaMikdash. But in our lives, we can find opportunities to bring this Thanksgiving offering, which really is a space of Kiddush Hashem, because we thank Hashem for the miracle that happened. We can find spaces in our lives to do things as recognition for the fact that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives us all the brachas that we have. And perhaps that really is one of the great messages of the Parsha, is finding the opportunity to acknowledge the brachas that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives us. We'll stop there today. Have a wonderful day, everybody.